Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and if this is your first time here, you are welcome. Please don't forget to hit that red subscribe button down below, and please click on the bell icon beside it. Thank you so much. So the last update about Jodha and AKBAR was how Jodha and Khaibar were in the jungle, and Khaibar did everything he could to protect Jodha and to make Jodha happy. And Khaibar went to bring coconut, and they ate coconut and they were satisfied, and Khaibar wanted to sleep, and he owes Jodha's sari so that Jodha would not run away. That was the last update. Let's continue from there. Jodha was sitting on the rock while Khaibar was sleeping and holding Jodha's sari. Jodha tries to grab her sari that Khaibar has tucked into his ears, and Jodha finally got freed, and she thinks that this is the time to run away from there, and she wished that she would find some villagers. Jodha started walking, and she says that she will walk by the bank of the river so that she will find some villagers. Jalal on the other hand says to his soldiers to walk by the bank of the river because the beast will be around there. Khaibar wakes up and he couldn't find Jodha there, and Khaibar shouted in anger. Jodha looks around the river and says that there's no village around. Maybe a village is on the other side of the river. Jodha enters the river and she tries to cross to the other side of the river, and she thinks that the river is not so deep, so she will cross it. Jodha was trying to cross the river, but she suddenly falls and she started drowning, and Jodha shouted for help by calling Jalal. Khaibar was finding Jodha while Jalal was also looking for Jodha, and Jodha was shouting for Jalal. Jalal and his force comes to the side of the river, but they couldn't see Jodha, and Munim says that they did not find any clue about Jodha and Khaibar. Jalal says that he feels that they should start looking for them from the start of the river, and they goes from there. Khaibar was on the mountain end and he shouted for Jodha's name, but Jodha was already in the river drowning. But suddenly, a hand came from nowhere and takes Jodha out from the river, but the person was not shown. At night, Jodha was lying unconscious in a hut, and she later wakes up and she thinks that finally some village people helped her and she is in their house, and maybe someone saved her and brought her here. Khaibar comes there and Jodha was shocked. Jodha asks that did Khaibar take her out from the river, and Khaibar knows that yes, and Khaibar angrily looks at Jodha. Jodha looks around the hut and she thinks that this is not a village but a hut, but who lives there? Jodha saw food that was already cooked in the hut, and Jodha thinks that maybe Khaibar has sent the people living in the hut away from their home. Jodha says to Khaibar that how many homes will Khaibar destroy for her sake, and Jalal is right that Khaibar is a beast and not a human. Khaibar gives Jodha some clothes to change, and Jodha thinks that this is not good to wear somebody else's clothes without asking, but her clothes are wet, and what if that affects her children? So she have to save the Mughal hairs, so she will wear the clothes. Jodha takes the clothes from Khaibar and asks him to go out because she has to change, but Khaibar was still standing there. Jodha angrily says that Khaibar should go out because she cannot change in front of Khaibar, so Khaibar should go out, and Khaibar understands and he goes out. Munim says to Jalal that the soldiers are tired and he thinks that they should stop the search and they will start tomorrow. Jalal says that he doesn't want to stop, but he cannot find anything in the night, so they should rest. The soldiers makes the tent, and Mahan comes to Jalal and says that people are gossiping about Jodha, and he knows that he cannot take Jodha's side after what she did. But Jodha is like this, and for the truth and for innocent people, Jodha can go to any length till she save them or give them their right, and Jodha used to do this in Amer as well. Jalal says that he knows that, but Jodha took the side of a criminal just because of her ego and stubbornness. Jalal says that there is bitterness in his relationship with Jodha at the moment, but he will remember Mahan's point as well. Jodha wears the dress that Khaibar gives to her, and Khaibar comes in and looks at Jodha, and Khaibar was mesmerized by Jodha's beauty. Khaibar sees food and he was about to eat it, but Jodha takes the food from Khaibar and says that because of a beast, she have to become a criminal stealing people's food. Jodha serves the food in the plate, and Khaibar was happy and he eats the food. Jodha says that she feels like Khaibar has never ate cooked food before, and she cannot understand how can anyone force Khaibar to live in the jungle, because Khaibar could have been a better human. Jodha says that Khaibar saved her life 2 times, and that means that Khaibar have goodness in his heart. But Khaibar kidnapped her 2 times as well, which means that Khaibar have no sense as a human, because if Khaibar is good, then why did he do this? Because it is not good to kidnap anyone. Khaibar keeps enjoying his food and smiling at Jodha, and Jodha asks if Khaibar is understanding her, but Khaibar only says Jodha's name, and Jodha was frustrated that Khaibar couldn't understand anything, so Khaibar should just continue eating. In the morning, Jodha and Khaibar were sleeping in the hut, and the hut owner comes there and sees Jodha and Khaibar sleeping. The hut owner quickly runs to Jalal's tent and informs him that he saw Khaibar and Jodha together in his hut. Jalal and the Mughal soldiers goes to the hut, but Khaibar has already left there with Jodha. The hut owner says that Jodha wore his wife's dress and made food that they ate as well. Jalal comes in and sees 2 food plates and Jodha's clothes in the hut, and the hut owner says that both Jodha and Khaibar were together the whole night. Jalal gets angry and looks at Jodha's dress, and he says that he doesn't think that they has gone far, so they should find them. Khaibar was dragging Jodha away, and Jodha asked him to leave her. Jodha got a stick and she started beating Khaibar to leave her alone, and Khaibar gets wounded and blood started flowing from his wound. Jodha saw this and she stops and feels bad. Jodha says that Khaibar should try to understand that she cannot see Khaibar in pain in the jail, so that was why she made Khaibar run away from the jail. But now she have to give Khaibar pain, and she doesn't like that, so Khaibar should please let her go, because her family must be worried for her, so Khaibar should let her go, and Jodha cries. Khaibar comes closer and tries to wipe Jodha's tears, but Jodha moves back and asks Khaibar to let her go. Khaibar heard some odd sound and Khaibar quickly takes Jodha away from there. Jalal comes there and says that the beast will be alert by hearing the odd sound, so they will walk from there. And Jalal, Sharafuddin and the soldiers started walking in the jungle. Khaibar was looking around the jungle and he sees Jalal coming, and Khaibar says no, and Jalal heard the noise. Khaibar comes to Jodha and lifts her up on his shoulder and they goes from there. Jalal says that he heard a voice, and who was that? Mahan says that the person cannot be Khaibar because Khaibar cannot speak, but whoever the person is knows that they are in the jungle. Jalal says okay, so they will travel by us, but they will go from the other side of the jungle. Khaibar was taking Jodha away, and Jodha sits on the rock and says that she is feeling hungry. Khaibar says okay, and he goes to get some food for Jodha, but Jodha quickly ran away from there. Jodha saw some men and she comes to them and tells them that she is Queen Jodha of the Mughal Sultanate, and one beast kidnapped her, so can the people just take her back to Agra, then they will all get a reward. The people ask Jodha that who dare kidnap their queen, and Jodha says that they should leave that, but they should just take her away from there, and the people takes Jodha away from there. Jalal comes to some village people and the man says that they are scared because some robbers are there in the jungle, and they comes to them and takes everything from them. Jalal asks Sharafuddin to go into the jungle and find the robbers, and Sharafuddin asks the villagers how the robbers look like. Jodha was walking with a group of men and they started looking at Jodha lustily. Jodha asks that why do they stop there, and one man says that before selling Jodha in the market, then they should enjoy Jodha first, and they says that they are robbers and not any village people, and they all surrounded Jodha. Jodha says that they should not come near her and they should stay away from her, but they keep coming close to Jodha. Jodha says to the thugs not to touch her, and one thug says that Jodha should decide if she wants to feel their taste or if she wants to feel the hunger of the wild animals in the jungle, and all the thugs surrounded Jodha. One goon pushed Jodha and she falls on the ground. Another goon was about to touch Jodha, but Khaibar comes there and beats him and throws him into the river. Khaibar beat all the goons and he throws some into the river, while some of them runs away from there. Khaibar looks at Jodha and Jodha says thanks to Khaibar for saving her life again. But and before Jodha could complete her statement, Khaibar angrily leaves from there, and Jodha thinks that she should be with Khaibar, otherwise any other gun can catch her, so she should go with Khaibar instead. Jodha stops Khaibar and says that she will come with him. Khaibar looks at Jodha and Jodha says that now she will not run away from Khaibar, and she is coming to Khaibar on her own, and Khaibar shouted at Jodha. In the palace, Ruqayya meets Atifa and asks that where is Atifa going to. Atifa says that she is going to Raham to practice song, and Ruqayya says that there are many problems in the palace and Atifa is busy practicing songs. Atifa says sorry to ask, but do Ruqayya know where Jalal is? Ruqayya was angry and she says to Atifa that she accepts that Jalal like Atifa, but Atifa should not forget her status. Ruqayya says that there are many maids and wives whom Jalal slightly like, But there are many who want Jalal to look at them, and there are many whom Jalal once liked, and now he has forgotten. So it is Atifa's luck that till now she is in the palace. So Atifa should be in her limit, and Atifa should never go out from harem without her permission, and Atifa in tears goes away from there. Jalal in the jungle was looking at Jodha's clothes and he was angry. Mahan asked Munim to go to Jalal and give him food, and Munim comes to Jalal and asks him to have some food, but Jalal says that he will not eat until he, and Jalal becomes silent. Munim comes to Mahan and says that he is worried for Jalal, and he hopes that Jalal finds Jodha and he doesn't become angry with Jodha. Jalal sits on the horse and he started riding his horse, while the other soldiers also follows him. Jodha and Khaibar were walking in the jungle, and Jodha says that she feels like there are some villages over there. Jodha was about to go, but Khaibar stops Jodha. Jodha says that now she will not run, leaving Khaibar alone, and she promised Khaibar that she is going there because she is hungry, and they will find some food in the village. Jodha says that who is she even talking to, because Khaibar doesn't even understand anything. Khaibar holds Jodha and ties her on the tree, and Jodha says that she will not run, so why is Khaibar tying her? But Jodha was frustrated because Khaibar doesn't even understand anything. Khaibar goes towards the village and Jodha asks Khaibar to stop, but Khaibar refused. Jodha thinks that why is Khaibar going to the people when he is supposed to run away from humans? Khaibar comes to the village where people were busy cooking food, and they were shocked to see Khaibar and they all ran away. Khaibar sees the food that the people has cooked, and Khaibar carried the whole pot of the food and he was going towards where Jodha was. The people were worried and they all gathered together to stop Khaibar. In the jungle, one child sees Jodha tied on the tree and he comes to Jodha and asks her if the bad man tied Jodha, but Jodha says no and she only lost her way. In the village, the people says that Jalal soldiers told them about the beast and they says that where is Jodha? The kid that saw Jodha comes to the people and says that he saw a woman in the jungle. The people says that so this is the beast who kidnapped Jodha, and the people says that they will beat him and they will get the reward from Jalal. All the people started throwing stones at Khaibar, but Khaibar keeps walking to Jodha with the food in his hand, and the people keep stoning Khaibar and beating him. Khaibar gets injured and Jodha comes there, and she was shocked to see Khaibar coming to her with the food in his hand, while the people keeps beating him with stones and sticks. Jodha remembered how Khaibar had put sand on her wound when he first kidnapped her, and how he saved her for the first time. Then how in the jungle he brought food for her, and how he beat the goons for her. And Jodha says that now she understands why Khaibar saved her all the time, and it is because Khaibar loves her. But how can Khaibar love her when she is already married to someone else? Jodha comes to the people and she pleaded with all the village people to stop beating Khaibar. Khaibar wanted to turn back and beat the people, but Jodha asked Khaibar not to do anything. Jodha says to the people that if they want to kill Khaibar, then they have to kill her first because Khaibar did not hurt her, but the people wants to kill Khaibar. Jodha says to Khaibar that they should run from there because the people will not understand, and as long as she is with Khaibar, then nobody can hurt him. And Jodha holds Khaibar's hand and they both ran away from there. Jalal comes to the same village and the people says that they captured the beast, but Jodha saved him and ran away from there with the beast. Jalal asks that where do they run to, and the villagers show Jalal the way. Jalal says now he will surround Khaibar and he will kill him, and all the soldiers follows Jalal. Jodha and Khaibar were running while the village people and Jalal force were coming there. Jodha and Khaibar comes to the end of the mountain, and Khaibar cries angrily. Jodha sees Khaibar's wounds and wipes Khaibar's blood with her cloth. Khaibar looks at Jodha and he was about to touch Jodha, but Jodha says that Khaibar should stop. Jodha says that she knows that Khaibar is a good human, but Khaibar cannot kidnap a woman who is married and who is becoming a mother soon. So Khaibar should go from there, otherwise Jalal will kill him. Jalal comes there beneath the mountain and he sees Jodha and Khaibar standing at the cliff. Jalal shouted that he has come to save Jodha, and Jodha was beyond happy to see Jalal, and Jodha says that she is here. Jodha was about to go to Jalal, but Khaibar stops her. Jodha says that Khaibar should let her go, and she knows that Khaibar is a good human, but she only loves Jalal, and Jalal is her husband, so Khaibar should let her go to Jalal, and Khaibar should please. Khaibar knows that no, and Jalal throws an arrow at Khaibar. Khaibar falls on the ground because the arrow hurt his foot. Jodha says that Jalal should stop and Jalal should not kill Khaibar, and she will tell Jalal everything about Khaibar later. Jodha started going down the cliff, and Jalal says that he is coming, and Jalal comes down from the horse. Jodha was going down the cliff, but she loses her balance and falls. Jodha was falling down the mountain, and Jalal says that Jodha should wait because he is coming. Jalal says that Jodha should not worry because he is coming down to save her. Jalal asks his soldiers to bring rope, and Munim brings the rope. They tied the rope on the tree, and Jalal holds the other end in his hand and started coming down the mountain to meet Jodha. Jodha sees Khaibar also coming down the mountain, and both Jalal and Jodha extends their hand to Jodha to save her. Jalal angrily looks at Khaibar, and Jodha looks at Jalal and tries to hold Jalal's hand instead of Khaibar's hand, and Khaibar was shocked and disappointed as Jodha gives her hand to Jalal. Jalal pulled Jodha up with difficulty, and Jodha holds Jalal and looks at Khaibar. One stone falls at Jodha and she loses her balance to Jalal, and Jodha started falling down the mountain again. But Khaibar holds Jodha's hand and saves Jodha from falling down. Jalal comes down with the rope to hold Jodha, and Khaibar gives Jodha's hand to Jalal, and Jalal holds Jodha and he started climbing up the cliff, while Jodha looks at Khaibar, who was still holding the cliff for support. Jalal takes Jodha up and they both come to the cliff. Jalal and Jodha sadly and angrily looks at each other, and Jodha then looks at Khaibar down the cliff. Khaibar looks at Jalal and Jodha and he smiles with joy, and Khaibar calls Jodha's name. Jodha asks Khaibar to come up the cliff, but Khaibar himself lifts his hand and falls down the mountain, and Jalal and Jodha were shocked to see Khaibar falling down the cliff, and Khaibar died after falling down. The thing hit me hard that Khaibar had to die, but... Anyways, thank you so much guys for watching till the end, and if you like the video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, don't forget to share it, comment, and I'll see you all again in my next video. Bye guys.